All right, let's cut right through the noise on enterprise AI. We're going to lay out a framework that's built specifically for the boardroom. Together, we're going to build a clear, actionable path for what is easily one of the most critical decisions your organization will face this decade.
So this is the question, right? It's bouncing around every boardroom, every strategy session. Copilot, Claude, it's a product question, focused on the shiny new tools of the moment. And on the surface, it feels like exactly the right place to start.
But here's the thing, it's not. In fact, focusing on products first is a classic trap. It's one that can quietly steer your entire AI strategy in the wrong direction.
Because the real, fundamental choice here isn't about the tool you pick, it's about the architecture you build. And that single choice, that architectural decision, is going to determine exactly where, and more importantly, how, your organization actually gets value from AI.
So, here's our game plan for the next few minutes. We're going to talk about the AI paradox, look at the two big competing architectures, give you a 60-second decision tool, break down the strategy and risks, and then we'll land on a clear recommended position for the board. Let's get into it.
First things first, we have to tackle this core misconception about AI that can be incredibly costly if you get it wrong. And that is the assumption that more integration is always better.
We call this the integration trap. It's this idea that the deeper you embed AI into your current systems, your Microsofts, your Salesforces, the whole shebang, the more return you're going to get. It seems logical, it feels right, but it's often a deeply flawed assumption.
Because here's the reality. More often than not, that deep integration just ends up locking this powerful new technology into your old, inefficient ways of working. So instead of redesigning the whole process, the AI just gets really, really good at navigating your existing bottlenecks. And this is what that looks like in the real world, right? The AI gets tangled up in your siloed data. It starts automating little pieces of already fragmented workflows. It learns to work within those crazy layered legacy approval processes. At the end of the day, you've just built a faster horse, not a totally new engine.
Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of the decision. There are two very different, competing architectures out there, and really understanding them is the critical first step to charting a strategic path.
So here they are, the two paths. On the left, you've got embedded AI. Think of this as the ecosystem model. It's like Copilot. It lives inside the tools you already use, and its job is to optimize a specific task. On the right, you have decoupled AI. This is the protocol model. It sits above your tech stack, kind of like an orchestra conductor, and it executes an entire end-to-end workflow.
And this choice, well, it directly defines how you even measure success. With embedded AI, value is all about efficiency. It's about time saved on individual tasks. But with decoupled AI, value is about effectiveness. It's about improving the quality of the final outcome. The whole focus shifts from just executing tasks to actually making decisions.
And this is why this is so much more than just another tech upgrade. This is a fundamental debate about where control should live inside your organization. Do you want AI to make individual people more efficient at their jobs? Or do you want to build systems that make better, faster decisions all on their own? Big difference.
All right, let's make this really practical. Here's the decision tool we've put together that's designed to bring real clarity to this choice in literally under a minute.
It all boils down to this one single, non-negotiable question. Where should decision-making truly reside? If the answer for a given process is within your existing software, well, you're on the embedded AI path. But if you believe it should sit above those systems, led by AI, then you're headed down the decoupled AI path. This matrix just makes that choice tangible. For example, look at that third row. Is your primary goal efficiency, saving time and money? If it's a yes, then the path is pretty clearly embedded AI. But now, look at the fourth row. Is the goal better decisions? Then you've got to be looking at decoupled AI. See? This tool forces you to prioritize and to accept the trade-offs that come with each path.
Okay, so now that we've framed the decision, let's explore the strategic consequences and the very different risk profiles that are associated with each of these paths.
And the outcomes really could not be more different. The embedded path, it delivers these nice incremental productivity gains inside your current structure. But the decoupled path, that forces a fundamental workflow redesign and a huge shift in who or what actually owns the decision.
Now, let's look at the risk trade-offs, because this is where it gets really fascinating. At first glance, that embedded path seems way safer, right? Low execution risk, low governance complexity. But look at that bottom row. That's the hidden danger. a high strategic risk of stagnation. You risk becoming perfectly efficient at doing things the old way, while your competitors are out there building entirely new, AI-native ways to operate.
So, as a board member, here are 3 red flags you have to watch for. Are you seeing high AI spend but almost no workflow redesign? That's a huge sign of false ROI. What about high adoption numbers, but the usage is all surface deep? That's not real integration. And maybe the biggest one, if AI is only being used for drafting and summarizing, it's having zero impact on actual decisions. These are all signs your AI program is purely operational, not transformational.
So, with all of this context, what's the move? What is the clear, actionable recommendation for the board? What does the most strategic path forward actually look like?
Well, here's the twist. The most strategic path isn't to choose one or the other. The real recommendation here is to pursue a dual architecture, a strategy that brilliantly balances those immediate short-term wins with long-term fundamental transformation.
Here's the blueprint for that. First, you establish a productivity layer. This is where you deploy embedded AI across the whole organization to capture those immediate efficiency gains. At the exact same time, you create a decision layer where you run controlled, high-stakes pilots of decoupled AI on just a few critical workflows. And then, wrapped around it all is the most crucial piece, a really robust governance layer to manage the new risks and ensure total accountability.
And I really cannot stress this enough. For that decoupled path, the governance layer is completely non-negotiable. It has to include rigorous systems for validating AI outputs, it has to ensure full auditability of every single automated decision, and it has to establish crystal clear lines of human accountability for when things go wrong.
And that brings us to the final, crucial takeaway. As you go back and evaluate your company's AI investments, just apply this one simple test. If your AI initiatives are not fundamentally changing how decisions are made, then your AI program is purely operational. It is not yet strategic. And the real question for the board is that good enough?